So, yeah, this build's pretty good at Simulacrums. You just saw there was a wave 30 of me just standing still and holding right click, and everything just died, you know, because there's somebody phobia, they just fell over. So yeah, I mean, no surprise, it's a multi-mirror aura stacker. It's obviously good at Simulacrum, but it's, I don't know, I just saw that was kind of funny. But yeah, so if you want to Simulacrum and you have a lot of money, I guess you could do this. But yes, so I've been making more progress with the build. I've put it in a place where I think it is substantially better than what I had to show you in the first video yesterday. Not yesterday, I guess a few days ago. And I'll show you what I've done with it. And just to preface this, these videos aren't to brag or anything. I'm just kind of doing these for fun. I know they aren't super relevant to most people, but maybe you'll, you know, find something interesting in the way I, you know, make my characters, or maybe not. You'll find something else to enjoy. Basically, I just enjoy making these sort of, you know, diary videos of my characters and covering what I enjoy doing. So yes, I know they're very high-end, but you know, hey, I've been playing a lot, so you know, that's cool. But okay, let's look at what I've been doing with the character. So quite a lot of changes here. So basically, before we used to have a brutal restraint here, which gave strength to all the nodes, and then 2 transcendent fleshes, which gave us a lot of crit multi because it got all these strength nodes to count for the crit node mod on it. I've switched that out, and I'll go through why. So it started with me having issues getting the mana cost correct. So we used to use this cluster to get 10% reduced mana cost of skills while on full energy shield, together with the flask craft with the mage blood to have, you know, good chief spells, so we can reserve almost all of our mana. However, I don't like, as I mentioned in the last video, these nodes are just kind of poor. They're not very efficient. I don't like them. And this is a build where passive points are super valuable. So I wanted to get rid of those. And if we do that, we need another source of reduced mana cost. So for a while, I was doing that on a rare jewel, sort of like this one, but replace one of the damage stats with reduced mana cost. However, that only goes up to 5, and we do need a bit more than that in order to reliably cast you know, both Flame Dash and Slimer's Mark. So it wasn't quite enough, and I couldn't find a good, efficient way of doing it. However, there is this tech. We're using a Millitant Faith. So this is not my tech. People have been doing this. I believe all the Inquisitors or Stacker use this sort of thing, although they use it in here, I believe. But this gives you a bunch of devotion from the small nodes in the area. So each small node will give you +5 devotion. And, I mean, all the big ones as well, except for the ones that it transforms, and it can transform some of them. But then it gives you a build, basically, it gives you different stats depending on how much devotion you have. So you want, for this build, this is the by far best one, so you can get reduced mana cost of skills per 10 devotion, and you get aura effect per 10 devotion. And currently, with this, we actually have 210-ish, I believe, devotion, give or take, and we're getting that through this Unnatural Instinct. So this gives us all these small passes in radius, the allocated ones, and the allocated ones give us nothing. So we get all of these small passes, which all give 5 devotion each. So it's a big boost to the Militant Faith, and enough to give us, you know, plenty of devotion to give a lot of stats from this. So at 210 devotion, obviously we get 21 aura effect, which is a ton. And we get a bunch of mana cost reduction as well, which is really nice. So with this easily fixes, like by far fixes our mana cost problems. You know, everything's free but Spark, so Spark still works with Inspiration. And I did that by changing the Inspiration quality on the Spark from Divergent, which gives you more reduction in mana cost, to Anomalous, which gives us some more crit chance. And we actually need a bit of crit chance because of some other changes I made, so it's actually a really nice change. And also this gem is way cheaper, so I could sell the old one and make some 7-point Divine spec. That was nice. But also, Militant Faith can transform some notables in the area. So see that all these are the same, they just give extra devotion. But this one has changed. So this is, I believe, used to be, it's called Harrier, this notable, and it gives you some cast speed and stuff, so it's not that big of a deal. However, it's now immune to elemental ailments while on consecrated ground if you have at least 150 devotion. So we're getting ailment immunity from this, like fully, because we are running both the Zealotry, which gives us consecrated ground, and we have a Bottle of Faith that, you know, just constantly casts while we're mapping. And this obviously gives giga boosts the consecrated ground effect, the area rather. So it's just massive. And yeah, I've been looking at this, and we have pretty much permanent consecrated ground uptime, which is really nice. So we're always ailment immune with this node. So it's a very efficient way of getting ailment immunity. And because we are getting it from here, I was able to drop Purity of Elements from my setup, which is really nice. I mentioned in the last video that I was not happy using a full 50% aura to just solve Ailment Immunity. While Ailment Immunity is really important, the fact that the Pure Development's res part didn't really do anything for us, because we can just, like I have here, get Elemental Resistance on a Suffix on a Flask, and we're totally set forever. Yeah, it didn't sit right with me, so being able to drop that 50% aura is massive, because it frees up a bunch of our mana to get more auras, and it's just, yeah, it's just really nice. So, freed up something out that way. I freed up mana another way by moving Hatred, which used to be on a call the Brotherhood ring. So I moved that from the Corrupted Implicit to just being in the 6 ink. I did this because when it's on the ring, it can't be affected by the Enlightened gem, which gives a bunch of minus to the reservation. And it's a big 50% aura, so it's a big cost of mana having it on the ring and not in the chest. So yeah, and before I put it in the chest, there was a Herald in there, right, which is like a 25%. That was the highest one after the other 5 I could put in there. So yeah, it's a big help for our reservation. And because we got so much free mana from doing those changes, I was able to, you know, eat up some passives. So basically I swapped one of these small clusters from a 3 passive to a 2 passive, because we don't need this last reservation efficiency node, so that saved me 1 passive points. I then made some other changes, so I swapped my Ascendancies out. So instead of what was last video, which was Guardian and Elementalist, I swapped those to, now we're back to Raider, and we are on Necromancer. So the reason I did that is that Elementalist to Necromancer was just a pure output, you know, point of view, Necromancer, with the auras I added, and I'll go over them in a bit. It just pure out-damaged Elementalist, and it's just a nicer node to play with, because all the cast speed feels good. So I just did that, pretty easy. And then we're going back to the Raider to get, for one, it's just a good pass. It's just like a good Ascendancy, right? We get free Frenzy Charges, which is a really nice damage boost. We also get Onslaught permanently on single target, which I didn't have before. I was just relying on the Onslaught on kill from the boots, so I had it for mapping, but on single target. So getting it single target is obviously nice. We get the bonus move speed and the suppression. So the extra suppression allows us, together with this helmet I crafted, because the last helmet was a hubris base, so we couldn't roll spell suppression. I crafted a new one with spell suppression. I did all this from scratch because no one was doing fractured aura gems deicide bases. So, but yeah, so with that, I was able to drop this whole spell suppression cluster here, which is a lot of passive points. That's 5 passive points. And instead just replace them with these 2, which both give us more devotion and give us some nice evasion, which helps with our defenses. To get spell suppression capped, as you can see, we are still spell suppression capped, which is quite nice. One thing that did lose us is some crit, because we were taking the mastery from this, which gives us crit strike chance, you know, equal to our spell suppression. So basically, I think I had like 107 spell suppression or something. Actually, I don't know if it gets the overcapped one. So let's say 100. So 100 crit strike chance, which is a really efficient node. Like, it's very strong. So basically, we are a bit under crit cap right now. Well, we lost out a lot of crit, so a lot of damage basically. Plus, we lost a lot of multi from replacing these 2 slots from Transcendent Fleshes to a rare jewel and a Natural Instinct, obviously. The rare jewel is good. I mean, it's triple multi. You get a lot of multi from there, but you are still getting less than what you were before. So we have lost a lot of damage, but we are making up with that in other ways. So I'll go through those now. So with the passive points we say, both from the new clusters and the lack of the spell pressure ones, I went and I took these skill effectuation nodes. Anyone who's played Spark knows that effectuation is, I mean, yeah, it's basically just more damage, right? Because each spark is alive longer, and that gives more, you know, over time, more effective chances for a spark to hit, because each spark cast can hit the same enemy once every 0.66 seconds. So, you know, the longer it's alive, the more of those hits it can do. So it's just more damage, and it's really nice. It also does stuff like buff the duration of our Vol Haste and of our just normal haste, which is the Divine Blessing aura I'm running. So I think these few you know, skill points here are really powerful. I also went and I got these crit nodes here. So these give you, here's some crit chance, here's some crit multi, here both, and then this mastery gives you a lot of crit multi as well. So that's really nice damage, and that's really cool. So that made up for some of the damage, and then we are getting the rest. We have some of the new auras. So there were 2 major additions. Well, 3, I guess, if you count the Wrath swap as an addition. So I swapped in Wrath, obviously in the 6th link, as I mentioned. I also added back in Herald of Ice. Herald of Ice is, you know, just very powerful. Well, okay, it doesn't actually add that much raw damage through the build, but it just feels so fucking good when you're mapping. So I just wanted to add that in. Obviously, if you want a more single target, I think Herald of Thunder actually adds more, you know, technically more single target damage than this, but it feels nowhere near as nice. So I added in Herald of Ice again. I also added in a precision. So this gives us the last bit of crit that we need to match what I had before, and it's not leveled up completely because I just needed to fit everything in, and I had to de-level precision a bit, but it's still quite high level. And using Anomalous to get a bit of extra reservation efficiency, which is always nice, save us a bit of mana, and we are currently very tight on the efficiency, but we are making it work. So those two additions, along with the Wrath Swap, which also the Wrath Swap not only gives us more mana, but it also lets us use an alt quality Wrath with the Ashes, so we get a bit more damage from that because we get 12 aura effects to the Wrath, which is quite nice. And so we get some damage there, and you can see that I'm also running 2 Call the Brotherhoods right now, so I am sometimes, like, I would swap to Nimis if I was doing like a boss or something like that, because Nimis is still theoretically, it's still more damage on like in a decently arenaed boss, right? Over time, it's just that for mapping, the higher on hits of having 2 Call the Brotherhoods, it both feels better and it probably just is better. You know, rather than the ramp up, you know, higher theoretical DPS of the Nimis, but higher ramp up. So I've just been, you know, enjoying running these 2 more than running the Nimis for the maps. But obviously for a boss, you'd swap this in because it doubles the duration of the sparks, and your sparks would just eat the boss alive. But yes, for mapping, having 2 Call the Brotherhoods is really good, especially since we now have the skill effect duration cluster, which, you know, helps with the spark duration even without Nimis. So I believe our spark duration right now, if we look at POB, is, let me swap to it. So calc, so we are at 3.4 seconds without Nimis, and you can see that our damage is quite a bit higher. Obviously, that is because we swapped to the Call of the Brotherhood for the higher on hits. If we swap back to Nimis, and this is not entirely, it's actually a bit higher than this because my Nimis kind of fucks my one of my jewels. But yes, so yeah, it's basically the same DPS as well before. It's actually a bit higher than the last video with the Nimis, but obviously, well, I'm using the Call of the Brotherhoods, so yeah, the hit damage because a lot higher, which is nice. Looking at the POB, otherwise, we are a lot tougher than we were previously. We were in the 300,000s in the last video. Now we are over 400, nearly half way through that number. So we got there by switching our flasks out. So since we're getting more crit now from the passive tree and from the precision aura, I was able to drop the diamond flask, which I was previously running, and replace it with a ruby flask, so that now we have 1 of each of the elemental flasks, and we are doing the, you know, Mage Blood meme stuff of having, you know, extreme elemental negation of each element by running the 3 flasks. So that's really cool and really nice, and has been feeling really nice. So let's see, otherwise in the tree I went over pretty much everything. One thing I am using right now is I'm using the Rational Doctrine, which is a new jewel added with the Sanctum League. So what this does is, if your strength is your highest attribute, you get Consecrated Ground while you're stationary, which is cool, but not something we'd need. But obviously our int is our highest attribute, as you can see here. So if int is your highest attribute, you get a 25% chance to create Profane Ground on crit. So if you don't know what Profane Ground is, every enemy that's on Profane Ground gets -10 all res and gets +1 base. You get basically +1 base crit for your hits on them. So that's really strong. Base crit to begin with is really strong because obviously base crit, you know, it's what gets scaled by all your multipliers, stuff like that, so that's very strong. And the minus res, especially as an ascendant, where we have to kind of work for our minus res, is super strong. So basically what that means is this node alone is, I guess it doesn't really reflect, what I can do is I can do this. So you can see the damage goes from 36 to 42 with the Call Brotherhood setup when an enemy is on Profane Ground. So it's really, really strong. It's better than any rare jewel. I've tried four you know, quad multi-jewels. They are not better than this. So yeah, it's a really good addition to this build, and it's just a very, very powerful jewel to begin with. It's synthesized, so you can get random implicits on it, so you can get some really nice stuff, I guess. Honestly, jewel synth implicits aren't that impressive, but you can maybe get some mana cost reduction if you really need that or something like that. But yeah, I've been running that, and I've been really enjoying it because it's always up, and yeah, it's cool. So yeah, I think that's pretty much everything I've been doing with the build. Very happy with it. I'm enjoying it a lot. Obviously, very high budget, but you know, this is the sort of stuff I like doing, especially late in the league like this. So it's, you know, we're not actually late in the league, but late-ish. We are quite a few weeks in now. But yeah, I'll continue working on this. There's certainly upgrade paths still. I am still trying to figure out a way to fit in more curses, because curses are strong, but we are not quite there yet, but I'm working on it. So yeah, I think that's it. I'm going to leave you with some clips from the Oh, the Twitch streams I've been doing over at my Twitch channel, which is in the description. You know, casual plug there. It's just like I've just been moving around doing some Crimson Temple farming, making money to blow on this build. So I'll put some clips of that and some, you know, showcases of this build in action. Although I do think most of those clips are from before I made the swap to the setup. But you know, same basic idea. It's still Spark. It's still good. And yeah. So hopefully, you know, you're getting some enjoyment out of these videos. I know they're not, you know, super useful as build guides or anything to most people, but I think they're fun to make. So I'm gonna keep making them, and you know, see the people who want to watch them can watch them. All right, it's cool. So yeah, I'll see you in the next one, and yeah, thanks for watching. Oh, div cards. Oh, this one's a good one. Some minions. Oh, that's really good actually. This early. So the div card altar that gives div card, or the div cards that gives div cards altar. There aren't a lot of those, and a lot of them are like the headhunter cards. So you see a lot of patience and stuff when you have this on, which is good. Oh. A bunch of this is oh shit. Yeah, there's Nurse. Nice. There's another one. Okay, so I need to dodge. Did I dodge it? Oh, I dodged it. What a god. I want to try and put more planning into the occultist idea. I think there's really potential in going occultist with this build, but oh, hello. It's not corrupted. 200C. Okay, I had one of these drop yesterday from a corrupted strongbox, and the fucking strongbox corrupted the gem, so it just got halved in value. It's fucked up. So there's an unactivated one. Oh no, shit! I just wait. Fuck! I got baited. This was the active one. I ran into the unactive one. I wasted it. God damn it. God, abysses, dude. I need to bet on one of them, and this one's been going for a while, so I'm gonna bet this one's worth, you know, following. Alright, don't give me a depth. Give me one more crack. Oh, okay, it's finished. Wait, if it's finished, I might be able to get to the other one. Oh shit, I see it! Dude, I see it! Oh my god, I didn't lose it. Oh my god, I'm just a genius, actually. By accidentally triggering it, I was just saving time. Holy shit. Calculated plays. Never didn't know. Oh wait, and then this one gives me a depth? God damn it. Alright, fuck this game. Shit game. Impressive. Ooh. Get double divine orbs quite often, huh? Not complaining. Can I just stand in this? Oh my god, does nothing. Jesus. There you go. We did it. Damn. It's actually really soon for my last one. Oh, that's a big payout. Okay. That's a good tank. Very good. Well, so far, these maps are, you know, paying off.